Welcome to the Human Edge with Patrick Somers and Scott Stolze. This is the show for business owners, leaders, and everyday professionals who know AI is changing everything, but refuse to let technology replace what makes people valuable. Patrick and Scott bring real-world business experience, leadership perspective, and a healthy dose of skepticism to the AI conversation. No tech jargon, no fear-mongering, no pretending the world isn't changing. Just practical conversations about using AI to save time, sharpen thinking, create opportunity, and enhance the human edge. The future is not human versus machine. It is humans leading with better tools. This is the Human Edge.
Welcome back to another episode of the Human Edge. Ford replaced experienced engineers with artificial intelligence. And then Ford discovered something important. The artificial intelligence could perform tasks, but it could not replace the knowledge, experience, and judgment of the engineers it replaced. So Ford began bringing engineers back. We recently covered that story. And, at the time, we said it was not a story about artificial intelligence failing. It was more a story about leadership misunderstanding what artificial intelligence was supposed to do and how it works. AI should not eliminate the people who understand the work. It should make those people more capable. And today, we're looking at an artificial intelligence company making almost that exact argument. Thinking Machines Lab. Yes, if you haven't heard of them, Thinking Machines Lab was founded by Mira Murati, the former chief technology officer at no less OpenAI, ChatGPT. The company assembled some of the most accomplished people in artificial intelligence. And then it went out and she was able to raise $2 billion before releasing its first major product. But listen, the part that catches my attention is not the money, although that's a staggering amount to raise. It's their mission. Their mission so aligns with what our podcast is about. They said that building artificial intelligence is the goal is able to extend human will and judgment. Yes, they want to build AI that extends human will and judgment. Listen carefully to that word, extends. It's not replacing. It's not eliminating. It's not on the sidelines. It extends it. And then while explaining their vision for the future of artificial intelligence, they cited Toyota. Yes, Toyota. Not another software company, not a Silicon Valley research lab, but Toyota, one of the most automated manufacturing companies in the world. See, what many of you may not know, or many of you may have forgotten, because it seems like it's been eons ago. In 2014, Toyota deliberately brought master craftsmen back onto portions of its production line. The person leading that effort, he said, to be the master of the machine, you have to have the knowledge and skill to teach the machine. Toyota learned that lesson in 2014. Ford failed to pay attention to that lesson, and they had to learn the lesson just recently. And truly, that statement, it may be one of the most important statements any business owner can hear right now, and obviously Ford missed it. Because the machine is going to keep getting smarter. There's no doubt about that. But the question is whether the people inside our companies will remain knowledgeable enough to direct it, correct it, and teach it. And that's a real concern. As you turn more and more over to AI, preserving the intelligence in the human. If we don't preserve it, the question is, will we slowly become dependent on machines who answer, and we are no longer qualified to question? Ponder that for a minute. And again, with that said, Scott, I kind of sprung this on you because I knew this would be right up your alley. It's so aligned, but love to hear your feelings on that.
Yeah, I love the topic, Patrick. I don't even need to say why. For the audience, this is the Human Edge. I'm going to share a few thoughts, but I have to ask and interject too, Patrick. It's funny because this is the second or third time, I know offline, we've talked about it many times, where we're talking about car companies, automobile manufacturers. Aren't they almost the ideal or an ideal industry to look at when it comes to integrating AI into the work that they do? Simply because they build these incredible machines that add a lot of value to society and to people, and they become more technologically advanced, and we're slowly but surely going more to autonomous driving. But it's like that industry I know you love cars and you love this space, is doing, I think, a good job. They're already giving us great examples.
Let's go back to Ford, right? When they started the assembly line. That was so out of the box thinking, and it increased productivity so much. We still use that process to this day. And if you think how advanced that was, ironically, the concept of the assembly line was created by no less somebody with an 8th grade education who also gave us the automobile, right? Henry Ford. The auto industry has really done a good job of leading in so many ways. Sure, aerospace technology is fantastic. There's tons of technology there. But if you go back to cars, when we literally went from horse and buggy to a car and then advanced the assembly line, came out with the V8 engine, and now, through the years, robots. I don't know if it was the first place to be used, but I've got to believe, and I should have done my research on this, but so much just comes to me in the moment that robotics and robots on lines, assembly lines, is prevalent in the manufacturing world, especially the assembly line, particularly automobiles. They are at the forefront of thinking and technology, and to add in AI is just a natural progression of that, right? But there's two companies who have kind of had to regress, and it is interesting. And I think that now you look at Thinking Machines Lab, that concept of what they did and what they're doing, their philosophy, it's a $12 billion bet. It's a $12 billion bet that people still matter, that she is taking. It goes right along with what we're about with AI. So, 2025, I believe, is when it was founded. And then they came out with their first product. And now they just, in July of 2026, they released their next product, their next evolution of this AI. AI is not truly open. All of the AI that we use is not open, meaning we don't own it. It's not like we can go buy it. We can rent it. We can lease it. Whereas this concept, and they're not the only one, but this concept is like going to a car dealership and buying you're going to get the car, you're going to be able to take it home. You're going to be able to tinker under the hood. You're going to be able to put on accessories. You're going to be able to make that car fit you, your personality, and whatever your hobbies are for work, whatever that may be. You get to make it. You own it. It fits you. What you don't get, of course, you don't get the blueprints of that car and all the proprietary trade secrets. Same thing with this. But you do get to own it, and you can actually go in there and manipulate it to fit your organization.
I think we all need and look to role models in life. Role models play a massive part, often professionally, in our development, our accomplishment, what we learn, fast tracking learning. So one of the 2 or 3 things I was thinking, Patrick, listening to all this context and background, because I think it's a great topic, is look to, in your business, even in your career individually, look to the automakers, look to the car companies for some guidance on just look at what they're doing, because it's such a blend of technology, machinery, and human interaction, human skills, human knowledge. And, again, we're going to say this over and over again. I've yet to see a great example of where AI technology was leveraged and actually put out that didn't involve, 1, learning from the people first, and 2, the oversight and kind of just the guidance by the human aspect, because that Ford story from a few weeks ago is so relevant to this example. They took it and made it transactional in nature to execute tasks, which is great, and it could save time and be very efficient, but ultimately they needed to call the people back. They needed to call the brains and the eyes and the experience back to oversee the process. And like we said at the time, that is a lesson. That is a lesson. So look to these organizations and now pay attention to Thinking Lab.
If you go back to the Ford, that episode, what Ford did would be no different than taking all of your experienced engineers and getting rid of them and hiring all of the top class graduates in engineering from around the country. There was a gap. There was a skills gap. There was an experience gap. And that's what Ford found out. So with AI, somebody's still got to train it. And so I don't want to go too far down that road. You got to check out the episode. It's a great episode. So Thinking Machines Lab, I pulled up some data here. I've never had on either of my 2 podcasts, this or the Tradepreneur Show, I've never had my laptop. And then Scott shows up and he's got this laptop. So I went out and got a laptop. I had to make sure mine was bigger than Scott's. but
It's actually a lot bigger. I'm not happy about that.
anyways, I pulled this information up. Mira Murati, I hope I saying her name correctly. She raised $2 billion before product one even existed. It has a valuation of $12 billion right now. The products they came out with, Tinker, which was the first product to release, it helps researchers and developers customize existing models, interaction models designed around real-time collaboration between people and AI. And then Inkling, this one just came out. Open weights multi-model model intended to be customized. All right. Now, I will say for the average AI user, for the person using AI, even the more advanced AI user, this is not something you're going to go out and use on a daily basis. This has specific applications. But what's exciting to me about this is just the beginning of the future of what AI will be when we can all have our personalized AI brain or weights and customize it to us in our life. And I think that this is just an indication of what's coming and the advancements we're going to see and how it will help make us more efficient as human beings. If you go on their website, they have this blog, okay? The future worth building is human. And I just want to read some of it. The mission of thinking machines is to build AI that extends human will and judgment. That's their mission. The mission can't be any more clear, and it can't be any more easier to understand. Artificial intelligence can do more every day, but deciding what it should do is up to us, individuals, organizations, humanity as a whole. These decisions require knowledge and judgment that people acquire through continuous contact with the work, the people in the trenches, increasingly done alongside AI. So I added that little people in the trenches, but acquired through continuous contact with the work, increasingly done alongside AI. Shaping the goals of advanced intelligence is also a continuous process of feedback, learning, and realignment. Most AI in use today is trained in a handful of places and then frozen. It isn't shaped by the people it serves and doesn't learn much from the work they do together. Extending human will and judgment calls for AI as diverse and distributed as people themselves. This is the path we have chosen. That is powerful.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, please.
That's
why I pause and stop talking.
This is, and I'm going to be very deliberate and intentional and a little slow in getting this out, but it's not long. This is fantastic because Patrick knows one of my struggle points in this evolution of AI, and I love what's going on, but one of my points of pain is the messaging is really poor. And a lot of it's coming from prominent public figures, some of whom are the CEOs and the heads of these tech companies. So I'm not here necessarily to judge their intentions or whatnot, but I just think their communication is poor. This is fantastic if for no other reason than she and the organization she's building and built is intentionally including the human element in their narrative. Like what you just read, it's very clear. If you listen to Dario and Karp and Jensen and Altman and others sometimes, like you wouldn't even know. You can go 3 weeks of sound bites from those guys and you wouldn't even know the role the human element plays in their work. This, the first time I'm exposed to it, I feel like it's very clear to me. And so where that leads me, so that's the number one thing. And then secondly, that just leaves me feeling really great because we know that this technology is going to succeed, which means it's going to help businesses and people succeed because of the people involvement.
Well, and that's why I didn't really prep you a whole lot for this episode because I knew your take on this. And I just thought it's so aligned with what we're about, what we talk about. And I just thought the candid response would be much better. And of course, it's fantastic. Further in this posting they did on their website, you can find us on their website under connectitism. It says, the progress on that path, we are pursuing these technical directions. We train strong models, advancing capabilities such as multi-model interaction and customizability. Sharp instruments extend human will, and human judgment needs to shape models that compete on the frontier. We build tools that enable people to make AI their own, customizing models to serve their unique needs. This includes the ability to train model weights. We develop interfaces that broaden the communication channel between human and machine, allowing personal judgment to continuously influence the work of AI. Let me read that again. allowing personal judgment to continuously influence the work of AI. We publish research for the scientific community because the power to shape AI requires deep understanding of how it's made. We believe the future worth building is human, shaped by human knowledge, guided by human will, and decided by human judgment. What follows is the case for the future and the work we're doing to bring it about. So I will just read the first couple sentences in what follows. It's titled Bringing Intelligence to Knowledge. AI exists to serve the work that we do. This work runs on knowledge of how things are done and what is worth doing. Knowledge that is generated continuously by people engaged in the work. You know what I feel like I'm reading? I feel like I'm reading the memo or the statement or letter that Jerry Maguire sent out coming back from the sports deal, where he sent that out in the middle of the night and lost his job over it because it was so contradictory. And to me, this is a huge bet on the future of the human race and how AI fits in. And to me, it is so amazing. Kudos to this woman. I don't know much about her. All I know is obviously this is her vision. This is her concept. And she sees something more in the human element and the future of AI. And she's leading the charge on that, in my opinion. So again, this isn't an episode to talk all about what it can do and how it can do it and going over the details. But if you check out their website, Thinking Machines Lab, just Google it or AI search it, it will come up. Check it out. It's worth looking at because I really like what they're doing. And again, I went and started messing around with some of the models and I signed up for it. And it's beyond me right now, but there's a lot of people out there. I've got a guy on our team that works remotely. This would be right up his alley. He could do wonderful things for it. Right now, the things we're trying to do with APIs and connecting to other softwares and automate a lot of what the data we need every day, but takes forever to pull and analyze that data. I just put together reports using AI, pulling our data that would take data analysts hours, if not days, to put together. In the one report I put together, AI analyzed 300,000 data points, right? And in a matter of 15 minutes gave me the report I needed, pretty accurate to what I prompted. And I made some adjustments. The time-consuming part is pulling that data. Right now, we're working on doing the API connection to automate that process to where we will get the reports that I'm using AI to develop automated, showing up in the team's inboxes every day. Our weekly operations reports that the managers have to take time to put together will soon be automated. We're working on that right now. This is just something that we could actually bring in, put this brain on our servers. Now, there's a significant cost to putting that brain on your servers. However, it's my understanding, again, don't fully quote me on this, but they have the capability to host. It's yours, you customize it, but it can be on their servers. So a lot of great advancements coming. And it's so, how do I say this? As a deeply spiritual, flawed, but spiritual person, I like this. It gives me comfort to know that we've got people out there fighting the good fight and developing this technology. And again, I love all the other technology out there. I'm an avid user of it, but this is just very, very refreshing.
In a lot of ways, you are, I mean, I set a good example, but I think in some ways with our mission right now, Patrick, you set even a better example just because of your background, not only as a business owner, but as somebody who's very data centric and data focused, which you need to be running several businesses, but your belief in and utilization of, and then, more to come along the lines of what you're sharing today. I think it sets a really good example. And I wanted to take credit a few minutes ago. I'm like, boy, I'm really rubbing up on this guy. Like, look at today's episode, what we're doing here. But no, this is organic. I can tell, like your belief in passion, enjoyment, talking about this, like I can feel it at the desk here.
Everybody's so fearful of AI is going to take my job. Are some jobs going to go away because of AI? Sure they are. Other jobs are going to be developed. That's just natural. That's not AI. That's called evolution.
Evolution is change, by the way. It's not, some of them won't go away. They'll just change a little bit.
Yeah. But I mean, that's progress, right? I mean, And some of the jobs will go away or are going to be good to go away, right? I can't wait till AI can replace most attorneys so I don't have to see these god-awful, obnoxious billboards on the freeway chasing ambulances, right? Destroying our U.S. economy. That's a whole different topic. But anyways, I digress. Check it out. Go to thinkingmachines.ai, thinkingmachines.ai. Check out their website. They are on X. Follow them on X. Thinky Machines, at Thinky Machines. Great name. Love it. Think it's fantastic. Check them out. Just one of the many exciting things happening right now. Follow this company. I think they're going to be going great places and doing great things. I, for one, am following them and very excited about the direction they're on. I wish them much success. Not that they need my wishes and help. I mean, they're valued at $12 billion.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good things to come. And I will be keeping an eye on this and cross-pollinate a little bit. I love what they're doing too. Thanks for introducing them to me.
Yeah. Listeners, viewers, we're wrapping up another episode of The Human Edge. As always, incredibly grateful. Scott and I enjoy doing this. We're learning as much as we possibly are teaching. We love comments and feedback, even the bad stuff. I always tell people, you want to stoke my ego, tell me good stuff. You want to make me better, tell me the bad stuff. Right? Tell me where I can improve. Some of you, I already know I got a fat head. You don't have to tell me that. But check us out on anywhere you can find a podcast, pretty much, and on YouTube. I can't believe how well we do on YouTube, but think somebody would enjoy this? Appreciate you sharing it with them. Appreciate any reviews. Check out our website, takecontrolai.com. Sign up for the newsletter. We're going to be sending out some pretty interesting, informative stuff, and you can take a survey there too. But either way, I just hope you learned something, got something out of today. And until next time, stay connected.